Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Tuesday, January 9th, 2024. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. The previous session, huge, unrelenting, bullish price discovery session here. Price breaks through the Friday highs and expands throughout the session. A huge continuation up throughout the day, and we're now sitting at the highs here, heading into the RTH Open. A little bit of a pullback to begin the RTH trade, or the pre-market trade, and that pullback could provide an opportunity for bulls to defend and return prices back to highs, a checkmark day higher. Given this strength, we can either digest sideways, or this pullback could lead to a continuation up as we lift toward the previous year's high price. Again, after this low Friday and this higher low yesterday, we've continued higher here to the upside. We could be looking at a push that takes us into 48.50 above. Today's daily range could be 60 plus points if this thing really comes on and pushes through 48s. 48 here, any pullback here, you push through 48, you open up some upside, and you start getting very close to the upper end of the range here. So that's the idea right now. Any failure to hold the previous session's midpoint would be very, very bearish and could swing things the other way in a big way. Right now, compression at these highs, a little bit of an expanding range beginning to develop here. We could be looking at a swing up toward 48.50 over the next day or two if today's early pullback can be defended. If we take a look here at the NQ, very similar price action. The previous session, the NQ led higher. Big time strength yesterday, stop run day up behind the strength of NVIDIA. Now seeing a holding pattern here early ahead of the RTH Open, a little bit of a pullback. And again, this is what you would expect in a bullish scenario. You get your breakout here, you close way up here, you pull back a bit early the next day, and then bulls defend that pullback and lift this thing higher. Again, you start pushing through two-day high 16.8 and you open up some upside. We've seen this thing drop quite a bit here compared to the ES, and to snap back this much could open up, again, a continuation across the way. Through 16.8 starts to open up the upside towards 17.2 over the next couple of days. So again, on the flow higher. Failure to hold 16.6 could be significant, as the bears could take control at that point. Taking a look here at crude oil. Crude had a big day down in the previous session, 3.82 points of range. Big drop, and that was about it. Again, we've mentioned before, 4 points is about the limit there for the upper end of a high range day lately. Yesterday, getting so close to that edge suggested that the day's range was mostly in. We have this very clear box, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of trading, and we've been stuck between 70 and 74. That's a very narrow 6-day range. 7-8 days if you want to continue to go back into last year. That's a lot of compression, and right now, heavy down, heavy up. You're back and forth right now, chopping around the 72s until we see that next big move. And again, this thing is building some major energy right now. I know I've mentioned before that seasonally speaking, we have a bullish seasonal pattern here to take us higher for crude oil in the first couple of the months of the year. Seasonality doesn't have to play out that way, but that is the general rule of thumb early this year. But this compression right here could break either way. If we fail through 70, this opens up quite a sell-off that takes us into those previous lows. So this is going to be huge. Again, right now we're chopping back and forth within the range. Today's an up day within the range, and until proven otherwise, we're in the range until we see that expansion opportunity develop. So right now, keeping an eye on this up move here as it rotates back up within this narrow range. Taking a look at gold futures, this one's up 0.4% right now. The previous session, we got our downside target of 2029s, the upside target 2111, and that's pretty much the range right now of this market after the initial impulse move down. I mentioned before that the expectation was for price to stay above 2029s for the most part, and maybe push back up toward 2070, maybe get back up toward 2100. But overall, after this strong day one rejection, after the failure at 2080 and prices above it, we're still kind of working our way down until proven otherwise. If we fail through 2025, it's going to put some big time pressure on the key range low. But right now we're kind of stuck in the middle of this range, downward price action at the moment, and pullbacks could be seen as a selling opportunity. A failure through 2029, 2025, and you start opening up more downside ahead. Very clear lower trend line intact. Which way we're going to go off this line, something to watch here for gold. Looking lastly here at the YM, this one's down 0.4% on a little bit of a pullback here today. While the NQ led higher, ES rallied behind it, the YM didn't participate as well. This one got heavy selling pressure from Boeing, was sitting at the previous week's lows for quite some time, eventually picked up some steam, went outside day up, big move up. We're still stuck in this super narrow range though. For all intents and purposes here, we're in the range and not really going anywhere right now. This range is about as narrow as it gets. You're at 37.4 up to 38.1 basically, and that little range right there has encompassed the last 3+ weeks. We can go in here and nearly count 20 days off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-day compression. And when you look at the 17 days and how narrow they are compared to any average going backward, it's tremendous how compressed it is. You can see right here on this profile down here, that's how compressed we are in terms of the number of points on a 17-day range basis. The last time we were that narrow was the first week of August right here, and you can see we went down, back up, up, down. Over here we were kind of narrow. That's in this phase right here, and we got that big move. And over here we were kind of narrow. That was in here before we kind of moved a little bit. So this is a lot of compression here on the wee part of the profile here. If we do get some movement here, again, 2,000 points would be an easy target move once we break out from this range. Are we breaking down? Do we go down, 15,000 points and then back up that amount? How is this going to play out? So again, a lot of compression here inside the YM range. Not expecting any kind of breakout right now. Again, alongside this market, maybe a little pullback and bounce, but we clearly have some weakness here today inside the narrow range. Until we get outside 37.4 or 38.1, we're stuck in the range right now with a short-term upside bias. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this develops here heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.